Okay, so today we're gonna do something a little bit different. I've got a table here with countryside, suburb, and capital city, and I'm just ranking random countries that I found on the HDI list on whether I'd rather live in the capital city of that country, in the suburbs slash other big cities, or in the countryside. Let's start with Austria. We're going to go from up to down. And before I start, actually, I have to mention something. I haven't been to some of those countries, and I haven't lived in most of those countries. So it's completely arbitrary, and I'm just doing it for the fun of it. Hope you like it. Okay. So with Austria, I'm gonna go for capital city. I think Vienna is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to. It's majestic. It's got culture. It's got vibes. It's got art. Infinite museums. You can bike around. The metro works effortlessly. Honestly, I would absolutely love to live in Vienna. So Austria, I would go for capital city. Switzerland. Switzerland is a very interesting one. I think with Switzerland, I'm going to go for the capital city. I'm considering it's Bern, even though there is no official capital city. I don't think suburban life is particularly attractive in Switzerland. I would either live like in a little village in a chalet or something near the mountains, or like in the middle of those very cute medieval historical centers. So yeah, I think Switzerland. I would go for countryside. I think I would rather live in the countryside. It's still very well connected by like metro and everything, so I don't think we would have much of a problem with that. So yeah, I think Switzerland, countryside. Norway, definitely countryside. I think Oslo. I haven't been to Oslo, but I feel like it's overrated. And I think if I go like to the mountains, where the mountains meet the sea, yeah, or if I go up north and see the Aurora Borealis, it would be like much cooler way to live, at least for a while. And I don't have to stay there forever. So yeah, Norway. I think I would go for the countryside. Iceland. I don't know. I haven't been to Reykjavik either, but uh, it's hard. No, Iceland. I think I'm gonna do countryside as well, just for the vibe of it. I mean, it's gonna be even more freezing than the capital city. Oh, you're right. Denmark, Denmark. I'm absolutely gonna go for capital city here. Sorry, like there's no questioning about it. I haven't been to Copenhagen, but it's like probably top three cities I want to go to the most in like the whole entire world. I just feel like it's going to be such a vibe, and the Danish people I've met were all so nice. Oh, my battery's running out. That is a problem. Yeah. Okay, fix my battery problem. So let's keep going. Sweden. Sweden. Let me think. I did fantasize a lot about Stockholm, but then I've started hearing about bad things in Stockholm. So maybe Sweden. I would do suburbs, like, and by suburbs I mean like other cities like Gothenburg or Lund, just like smaller cities but not quite countryside is what I mean. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do in Sweden. If you asked me like a few years ago, I'd say Stockholm, but again, I haven't been to Sweden, so my opinion doesn't count much. Whatever. Countryside, suburbs, or capital city for Ireland. Oh, capital city is Dublin. I did like Dublin, but I loved the Irish countryside. Like I loved Giant's Causeway up north, and Clifton Moor, and yeah, it was such a good vibe. I think I'm gonna go for countryside with Ireland as well. Hope those Irish people agree. Germany, definitely not the capital city. Definitely not. I mean, Berlin is nice and all, but nah, I wouldn't cheat. I mean, there are better things in Germany. In Germany, I might think, yeah, I think I'm gonna go for suburbs, like other cities that are not the capital city, like big cities like Munich or Hamburg. Munich is absolutely lovely. I also heard that Freiburg in Germany is absolutely fantastic to live in. Everyone who's lived there told me good things about it for family life. So I think Germany, I think I would do suburbs. I would do maybe Freiburg, south of Germany, something like that. You're still kind of near the mountains, for example, in Switzerland and Austria. You're not too far from France. Your weather's a little bit better. And yeah, I think suburbs in Germany would be my way to go. Australia, definitely suburbs. Not a doubt. I mean, if I choose Canberra, Canberra or whatever how they pronounce it, it's no, I would not choose Canberra, and I wouldn't choose countryside either. Like you would be bit by a snake and eaten by kangaroos, and you'd be way too far in the middle of nowhere. But suburbs in Australia are really, really magical. They still have that American dream kind of vibe to them, even though they're very expensive. So yeah, Australia, definitely suburbs. Belgium. Belgium is kind of a small country, isn't it? Oh, I think Belgium reminded me that I didn't put Netherlands in here. I think I'm going to put Netherlands as well. Let's just correct this. Yes. So for Netherlands, I think I'm going to go for capital city. People do say that the countryside in the Netherlands is very lovely, but Amsterdam was very good vibes. Like it was nice biking around, and lots of parks. It was a bit rainy, but I don't think the countryside is going to be much better. So yeah, I'm going to go for capital city Netherlands as well. For Belgium, I don't know. I like Brussels, but I don't love Brussels. I think I'm going to go for suburbs in the sense of like maybe Bruges. I don't know how they pronounce it. Might be a better city to live in. Everyone says it's very, very majestic, very, very cute, lovely. And Brussels didn't give me. I didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I also don't know anything about the Belgian countryside, so I'm gonna go with suburbs for Belgium. The UK. Damn, that's hard because I love all three in the UK. Like I lived in Lancaster, which would I guess be considered suburb, smaller city. I love London and I love the countryside, but I wouldn't live in the countryside in the UK. I think in the UK I'm gonna go for London. Uh, well, I'm obviously ignoring prices, right? I mean, Copenhagen and Amsterdam and Vienna and London aren't exactly cheap, and Switzerland isn't cheap. Nothing here is cheap, but yeah, I think London is just something else. And I think if I lived in the UK, I would definitely like to live in London. New Zealand. So New Zealand, I'm gonna go for countryside. I could say, or maybe Christchurch, like as a suburb uh, criteria, like smaller city. That's not the capital city. Might also be good because I don't know it's near the sea. It's still in the South Island, but it still like has some people. Yeah, it's kind of hard. But I haven't been to New Zealand yet, so no, I think I'll put suburbs. Thinking of maybe Christchurch or maybe Wellington. But people say they like. Oh no, Wellington is the capital. Fuck, I thought Auckland was the capital, but it's Wellington. Um, no, I'm gonna remain with suburbs. Thinking of more like Christchurch vibe, like not too far from the mountains, near the sea, still in the South Island. You can explore a lot. I think that would be my choice for New Zealand. Canada. Canada, I would put suburbs, obviously. I wouldn't put capital city. I mean, why would I live in Ottawa? But I would put suburbs and suburbs of Vancouver or suburbs of Montreal because I think those are the best cities in Canada. Uh, Hate me if you want, but I think those are the best cities in Canada. Um, yeah, so suburbs in Canada. South Korea. Mm, that's hard, but I think I would go for capital city in South Korea. So Japan. That's hard. Japan. I think I would go for the countryside. Of course, Tokyo must be amazing, but I don't know that vibe of like mountain and the temples and the forest and spring kind of feeling. I would pay a lot for that. So yeah, I think Japan. I would put it in the countryside. The United States suburbs, no doubt about it. I mean, I would like to live in New York for a while, and it is kind of like magical, but cities in America in general are kind of boring. I mean, when you compare it to many other cities. And yeah, suburban living in the US, it's really hard to beat. Like, you big house, comfortable pool. You can drive to the city center if you need. You can drive to nature. There's lots and lots of nature in the US. It's never really too far from the suburbs, normally from the suburbs. So, yeah, suburbs in America. Italy. I have lived in Rome and I really, really liked it. But I wouldn't live there again. Like, I've already done that. Like, I feel like if I were to go back to Italy, I might live in. I don't know. I might do that again, actually. I really liked living in Rome. Yeah. And if I hadn't ever lived in Rome, I would definitely consider it. But The small villages in Italy also have a very nice vibe. They're normally hard to get to. Like they're normally very isolated. Mm, no, Italy. I think Italy. I'll go for capital city as well. Spain. If I could choose, I would live in Barcelona. I wouldn't live in Madrid. And I wouldn't live in smaller Spanish cities either. So I guess since Barcelona is not the capital city, I would put suburbs. But I'm thinking of Barcelona here. And last but not least, France. So for France, let's correct that. Um, yeah, I live in the capital city in France. I lived in the countryside. It was nice, and I feel like living in Paris would be very good complementary. So yeah, ended up like this. So for countryside, I've got Switzerland. Little cabin by the mountain kind of vibe. Norway, same thing, cabin by the hill, let's say, or near the ocean or near the glaciers or whatever that kind of vibe. Norway, Iceland, more or less same thing. Ireland, just the green. I mean, the countryside in Ireland is so green. It's bizarre. And I was lucky enough to, when I was in Northern Ireland, it was not rainy. It was actually quite sunny. And it's such a stunning view. Honestly, amazing. And then Japan, just for like the old cultural samurai ninja vibe. And that I guess you would get more in the countryside. So that's my countryside list. For my suburbs list, Sweden, thinking of maybe Lund, maybe Gothenburg. Uh, yeah, that's more or less what I think would be interesting. I mean, I could put Stockholm, I could put capital city, but I'm gonna keep with suburbs. Germany, thinking of Freiburg, or maybe Munich. I know Munich isn't exactly suburban, but just because it's not the capital city. Australia. I mean, I live in Melbourne right now. It's great, but yeah, I think my suburbs of Melbourne, suburbs of Sydney, suburbs of any Australian capital city are great, and I would rather live in any of those suburbs than like live in, I don't know, Canberra. Yeah. Belgium. Yeah, I'm thinking of Bruges here, and I did like Brussels, but I don't love it. And I also don't know much about the Belgian countryside, so I just chose this by default. New Zealand, I'm thinking of Christchurch as in a suburban vibe in Christchurch. I could put countryside as well, like a cabin by the mountains in the South Island. I don't know even how many of those there exist, but still. Uh, Canada, I'm thinking of suburbs either in Montreal or in Vancouver, which I think are the coolest cities to live in Canada. I mean, I did live in Montreal, so I know a little bit, but I haven't ever been to Vancouver, so I don't know. The U.S., I'm thinking of honestly any. I think for the U.S. the best suburb vibe would be like Orange County, where you're still close to LA, so you have like a gigantic city, gigantic international airport, but you're also by the beach, and nature in California is just like surreal. It's amazing. So I would say like for the U.S., if I'd ever lived there, would be probably Orange County, or maybe maybe Florida, maybe some suburb in the northeast, like in New England. That would be nice. And Spain, Barcelona, I'm thinking mostly, and I'm putting suburb because it's not the capital city. And then for actual capital city, Vienna, amazing. Copenhagen, never been, but such vibes emanate from that city, and such gorgeous. I mean, honestly, even the men from Denmark that I met were attractive. So yeah, and the women were very attractive. So imagine the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Yeah, I think countryside in the Netherlands is underrated. I think I hear a lot of good things about it, but I'm gonna stick with capital city here. London, just magic. Been to London many times. Loved it every single. My parents are absolutely in love with London, so that's also something to consider. South Korea. I don't know much about the countryside in South Korea, and I know Seoul is huge, so I'm just going with that. Italy. I loved my time living in Rome. Would definitely do it again. And then France. Even though I liked the countryside, I think Paris just has an absolute magic to it, so I would probably choose that. Yeah. Hope you liked it. Give me in the comments which ones you would put in each category. All right. Cheers.